So when we first started the testimonials, we give them 3 questions. We're like, we want you to ask them if we did a good job and what they rate us 1 through 10. What were the reasons they went solar? And would they refer us to any friends? And we tell our installers, if they want to say anything else, put it in. And if you want to ask anything else, put it in. We installers like, hey, you think my crew lead's cute? Not that he would do that. We're going to cut that shit out. Right. But we fixed it to those 3 questions. Every now and then someone would be like, well, hold on, let my husband tell you too. Because people get excited to do video. Yeah. They're like, oh my God, yeah, baby, come here. Like, and you want to share that enthusiasm, not only with social media, but with all of the other sales reps, with all of the other installers, where people are like, fuck, I love what I do. These people love what we do. It just makes everything better. Right. And so that was the fixed script there. We did it for probably 4 or 5 years. We quit the last 3 years. We were the first company to do the sign, just went solar. One of our regional managers came up with that idea. He's like, I got this idea. We should just make this fucking sign. We're like, that's fucking genius. So we bought 10,000 signs, put them at all the locations. And when you sold it, because you can't do the testimonial video yet, that's install, you took a picture that we could post on social, and hopefully they would post on social, just went solar, right? The world is a copycat world, and that's okay. We were the first that I remember doing that, but then everybody did it. And it was like, okay, there's shit I've seen other people do that I take and I go, all right, I'm going to pimp it out to do even better. Right. So I'm real big into copying whatever works, take it and then pimp it out and customize it. And that's what other people did. Then they had I saw some people like flashing fucking signs and light up signs. I'm like, holy shit. But ours was just a basic power home sign at the time and said, just went solar. You could have something in your business that does that, and it's just like they feel good about it. I don't know what you would word there, but it's something. You want to be creative and come up with that's meaningful, that's powerful, that's remembering that when someone sees it, like, what is that about? Because it's all about intriguing. People sit on these fucking things all day. They need shit to do. That's their entertainment. So when they see shit like that, that's just eyeballs looking at your business that could turn into something. Hey, I know someone that lives over there in Troy. Shit, that guy got it. I can get it. That's the credible top level, right? We would incentivize.
Do you do videos or do you do videos?
I would do videos. So we would incentivize our installers, right? We'd say, hey, look, we do contests. We'd say, when you get done with an install, I want you to walk the consumer around the entire job and tell them, hey, look, answer any questions for them. Make sure you cleaned up. And then I want you to say, hey, do you mind if I do a video? I'm in a contest to win a trip against my other crew leaders. And, I'd like to take a video. You tell us why you went solar and what you want to rate us 1 through 10. It's okay if you rate us 5, 6. Just be honest, please. And 95% of the time they'd like 10. So I always think of, that football movie where the fat guy goes 10, 10, right? Varsity Blues, right? So you would hear these consumers say, I give them a 10 and I did it because of this and I did it because of that. We would take that, we'd give it to our marketing team over time. They would just post those and we'd have those on YouTube everywhere. So when our reps would be in the house, they're like, well, let's check out our YouTube channel. And they would mark the city. And if they were near that city or in that state, they will go, look, I've got, a few customers that have gone with us recently here. You can see these posts. This is them. Sometimes consumers, if you want referrals, have them post on their Facebook or their Instagram and tag you and say, hey, I'll give you a referral fee if you send me. That's another thing we used to do, but that wasn't a big mover. The videos are important because of the credibility. The one thing that I really love, and I'm gonna work on a lot on the one-on-ones and the courses that I offer, is when you go into a home or when you're talking to a client, what is the best way to sell? Because a lot of people just go in there, wheel and deal, and that was great like 15 years ago. Right now it's about listening. And it's about finding those pain points. And it's about finding the reason why you're there and making them tell you that. And it's about building rapport. And it's about letting your guard down, but helping them put their guard down. We all know this. And whether you've done in-home sales, you've done anything that any of you guys have done, people don't want to be sold. So they automatically have their guard up and they're scared that you're going to take advantage of them. Even if they invite you in the home, even if they called you for the service, they feel like they're not getting the best deal and their guard is up. Your job as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a salesperson, as a broker, as a real estate agent, is to get that guard to come down and have a relationship with them. Your job is to make them trust you, to build credibility, to talk about yourself and be vulnerable, talk about who you are, what you're about, talk about the company that you're with, what they're about. Show that passion rather than just sit there and say, oh, this is what I do. Let me see if I can get you the best deal. That's not what people want nowadays. It's not 1995. It's 2023 and people have this and they have access to this to do everything and anything they want now. So it's your job when you're in front of them, whether you're running an ad online or they're talking to you, to empower them to make a decision. I always go back to the very basic part of all of us have done this. You walk into a clothing store and when somebody says, hey, can I help you? We all say what? Nope, I'm just looking. That's what we all say. But if they come up as some lady comes up to Tavon in the store and says, hey, here's a 34 jean. Why don't you go try these on? And they're dope. What's Tavon going to do? If he wears 34, I don't know if he does. He's going to go try them on, right? They're seeing a want or a need and they're not asking open-ended questions and they're not just coming in for the sale. They're providing a service. And we have to act like that when we go into a home. One of the things we taught in solar was we don't go in there and sit down and say, here's the deal. We walk the home and let the customer envision the product. We're going to put it up here. That looks good to you guys, right? Why am I in this meeting with you guys? Is it because you don't like the utility company? Is it because you want to save the planet? Is it because you're looking for tax credits? Is it because you're worried about power outages? Are you trying to reduce utility bill? What's the main reason? What about you, Mr. or Mrs. Smith? What is your main reason? And when you get those, you're able to navigate through because everyone has their own buying reasons. And your job as a salesperson or an entrepreneur or a leader is to use your sensors to feel that and then be able to make a decision and help them. And you're the specialist where you've built that rapport, that guard is down, and you're able to make a move on that. No matter what you're doing, whether you're negotiating with a business or you're negotiating with a home buyer or you're negotiating with a customer in their home, it could be negotiating in a salon. Hey, what does he do? Well, we do all kinds of services. We do this. You're inviting them in. You're running ads that say, hey, we're different. We're not just a normal salon or a normal barbershop. Here's what makes us different and why. You want to have a fun, great experience? Come see us here today. Like those kind of things bring people in, but people don't want to feel sold. I hope that makes sense to people. Everyone says, dude, what was the biggest experience, that you've learned with everything that happened? And I preach about it in my book and my podcast. I'm always saying, pay your people first, pay your vendors second, right? Then reinvest in the business, then pay yourself. I left tens of millions, if not $100 million on the table, not paying myself distributions for like 5 years. I left it all in the company. So one of the regrets is you better find a way to pay yourself as well, right? Pay your people and you something. Pay your vendors, reinvest. You got to reinvest though. So if you think you need to make $100,000 a month, make 50, reinvest. If you think you need to make 50, make 25. Like you have to do something. I didn't. I kept it all in there and kept the same pay from 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. And the company went from 40 million to $1 billion in value. And I didn't get paid anymore. So that's mistake number one. Family's like, really? Like it sucks. Okay. 2, you have to protect, block, and tackle. So you have to, no matter how big a company is, you have to have a second option. We always had 2 panels. We always had multiple finance companies. We had 2 racking companies. We had 2 BOS companies. We had everything in 2s, except when we switched from SolarEdge to Generac, we just went all in one. And it was great until it wasn't. And then we were like, oh my gosh, what do we do? And it was like they caught the tiger by the tail. We were done. Like we couldn't fix it. So I always tell people, like, just be proactive in that. Have a second vendor, even if it's one market. You need to protect yourself like that. You can't go in bed all in with somebody something you can't control. Now the lawsuits will all figure it out, and Generac will lose. They've already lost half the value of their company. And $6 billion market cap, and they went from 300 stock price to like 1 and change since we closed. So I know it's done them damage, but there's a huge lawsuit for $1 billion that all our, customers will eventually get something. All the employees we had to let go. I don't think I'll ever get anything out of it. I pray, but I highly doubt it. It's just too big of a number. So we'll see what happens, but they will lose that lawsuit. And that'll be ugly. It'll go on for years. I'm still having to do depositions for it and stuff. And truth keeps leaking out more and more. And people are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did this. Oh my gosh. And it's just bad. So I can't believe they're still in the business. But I think a lot of people stay away from them just because of what happened with us, even if they don't think it's all Generac's fault. But I can assure you about 90% of it's Generac's fault. We had our normal problems, but you're always able to manage your problems until a giant problem happens. Then everything gets escalated and you can't keep up. Yeah, and that's what I want to try to prevent people from getting in that position, because that was the worst position. For 5 months, we were in survival mode, and it was just crazy. And we were 2 months away from going public. in your business, no matter what your business is, whether it's real estate, whether it's a salon, whether it's, a dumpster or hauling service or trucking service, whether it's, it's construction at a home, it's in-home services, whatever it is, you have to develop a strong value proposition, right? You have to find a pain. A customer either is buying because of pain or want. And the biggest problem we talked about, what Jeremiah mentioned, is on Google. Everybody loves Google because it's like, hey, I've got bugs at my house. Let me Google a pest control company. Great. That's out of necessity and need. Like everybody can get that. Anybody can say, I'm going to put Google AdWords in whatever industry I'm in, real estate agent, salon, whatever it is, I'm going to get when they're looking for something. But how do you fish in the bigger pond? That's what Jeremiah was mentioning earlier, right? That's what Tavon was talking about earlier. How do you get your business out there to where it's not necessity and they're Googling you, but how are you perking interest for the giant ocean? So think of Google as a small pond down the street. And out of necessity, those fish need to be caught because they need something. But what about the ocean? Right? They don't need something. It's your job to have a value proposition, to find pain points, to find wants, to put ads out there, call to action, something that perks interest for someone to go, well, damn, I never thought about getting, bug service before, but look, they're running a promotion right now and it's also doing something for the yard and doing this. Or maybe it's real estate agent. Hey, I see the ads of these agents. They're saying houses are selling for this and they're able to, partner with a mortgage broker and do this. Hey, I see that this company fixes bricks, brick around the house as well as the concrete. We're in Michigan, cracks all the time. Hey, I'm looking, we never thought that we might need trucking service or a hauling service in the back. We own a restaurant. We're just paying some Mickey Mouse company down the street to do it. This company's offering a steal deal, guaranteed to beat everybody's price, a call to action. Let's call them. You're now fishing in an ocean of clients, everybody. You're making everybody available as a customer, and you're trying to get their attention. And that's what really, in my opinion, digital marketing is, or utilizing social media, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all the platforms. You want to be able to put your mark out there, have some kind of call to action to where now you're fishing everywhere. You've got poles everywhere where people are biting. You're not just fishing in the same pond where somebody wants something. You still want those folks. And you want to be the best at that. But you can't grow on that because that's just out of necessity. How many people are going to need bug control? How many people are going to need the brickworks? Well, some people don't think they need it, so they don't message and they don't Google. Jeremiah wouldn't get it if he didn't run ads, and ads that have a call to action, 0% interest, 0 money down, call us today, we're doing financing. And you could set that up in anybody's business, a call to action where you have a value proposition and you're able to have good selling points. We had almost $1 million. It was like $800,000 in stolen charges on expense reports and fraudulent gas charges from employees for like a 2 or 3 quarter audit that we did. So the frustrating thing was our CFO at the time would tell the executive team, and I surrounded myself with, unfortunately, a bunch of order takers too. What's good about my partners now is I usually tell them, I did scream today, like, I want to be involved, get me involved in every damn decision. But that's because I didn't know, and I'm a control freak. But really, they've been running things and they haven't needed me, and they're operators and they're doing what they need to do, which is important, because if I hover, they can't grow. If I hold and strangle them, they can't manipulate and be the leaders they need to be. You got to let your team eventually lead. You got to be able to trust them to lead, right? I'm guilty of that. If I don't know something, there's a problem, I'm like, what the hell, get me involved. But really, that's just me getting upset. The facts are, I want them to be able to make the best decisions and only involve me when need be, because then they're learning to be better leaders. They're learning to be better entrepreneurs. They're learning to be better executives. It's better for them. It's better for the business. It's better for me. With the CFO part that I had, this guy would tell us all the time, dude, we audit everything, all these things. And then I just didn't believe it. I'm like, there's no way we're spending this much on gas. There's no way we're doing this. Doesn't make sense. So I had my own audit done from some of the auditors that worked for us, where I thought he was having it done. They're like, no, he ain't having it done. And we found all that stuff. And that ended up being his demise. It wasn't that like books were funny or people weren't doing, it was that there weren't controls in place, because no one will ever tell me that, oh man, my employees don't steal. No, they steal. It's how much. Okay. Because people steal. How much do they steal is what you got to try to control. You can't lose your shit that people steal. They're going to steal. how much and much control you put in place is what's key. So if we had some of those other controls, and this was over almost a year long, I mean, when you're doing 50 million in revenue a month, it's a drop in the bucket. It's not going to change our business staying open. It may seem like a lot of dollars, like holy shit, $800 to $1 million of wasted fuel charges that were fraudulent from reps and, certain executive doing, inappropriate expense reports and probably some regionals doing like all of that stuff that we found on like a 6-month audit. It was a drop in the bucket. I mean, you're talking less than 1%, but still, that's still real money. And so you don't want to get to that point where you're bleeding out and it's too late and you're like, shit, I should have done that. You want to be ahead of that. That's one of the things I learned. Like if I could have more controls in place, we'd have probably had a few extra $1 million to fight the fight at the end, right? That we didn't. We had an extra few $1 million that me and my partner didn't have to put extra millions in at the end to stay open. But we didn't, right? There's nothing you can do. So I tell people, like, if you're worried about that and as you're growing, you don't want to be bleeding and not know. You want to have controls in place, because if you got gas cars and you got vehicles and you got tablets and you got expense reports, I assure you it's not if they're stealing, it's how much. There's theft. That's the world we live in, unfortunately. People justify it. Well, the company makes this, it's fine. Well, they won't feel this, it's fine. They justify it, but it's theft. It's what I've seen in every business. I haven't seen it not happen. I'm not saying everybody's a thief. I'm saying you got people stealing. So I'm helping a company that does bricks and concrete in Michigan and Indiana, like fixes your bricks and concrete. And he's like, he's never done financing in his life. He said, I did 5 million in sales last year. We don't do financing. I said, brother, we're going to find you a financing company, which he's got 2 now. And B, you need to make an ad with a call to action. Hey, have you thought about fixing your bricks or your concrete, but you're scared it costs too much? Great news. We have 0% interest for 24 months and you can finance today. Give us a call. Is he up 400% in 1 month in sales? I can give you guys his number. You call him. Like, he's obsessed with what we're doing. He didn't know what ROAS was. He didn't know what a call to action was. He's been doing this for 5 years, right? So it's important that you guys, first of all, are like, hey, this is what we're great at. We're great at software sales. We've got a great vision. We've got a great idea. We're a great partnership. We bring all this, but we need to expand. So self-improvement or reaching out and bringing people on that help build this Avengers type team to take it to the next level is the first step. Because a lot of folks sit in your guys' shoes and go, I'll figure it out on my own. And that probably cost me 2 or 3 years of pain I didn't need at the beginning. I was just coaching another guy that's running a pretty big company up in Michigan, and he does concrete and he does brickworks and he does all these kinds of things. And he's never had a call to action. What a call to action means is, because he was like, what do you mean by call to action? So he'll have these commercials or these ads. This is what we do. And this is great. And, we've been around 50 years and blah, 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 blah. Call now. I said, well, call now is not a call to action. And he's like, well, what the hell's a call to action? I said, call to action is presenting a problem, providing a solution, and giving them a hell of a deal or a reason to want to call. It's call to action. I'll give you an example. He's never done financing before, and they're getting ready to expand. He's never done financing. He's like, and they do I think last year they did about 5 million in sales, and he's thinking or hoping he's going to get to 10 million this year, right? But they have bad winters. And he's like, I need to market better. And I'm struggling, only on referrals. And I said, all right. So he started doing these TV commercials and he started doing these ads, like I said, with no call to action. So I said, well, first of all, you got to get financing. I don't know if that applies to your business. We'll talk about it in a minute. But I said, sign up with these finance companies. Like, well, what does that do? Does it cost me anything? I said, no, it costs the customer. If the customer wants to finance their concrete and the bricks to get fixed, they have a monthly payment. People don't want to fucking pay, let me pay 50 grand to get my concrete done. People want to pay $200 a month. When they go buy a car, most people, right? People like yourself or me, we might be like, how much is the fucking car? 60 grand. All right, I'll buy the car. But our clients, the buyers, they want a payment. People want a fucking payment. So you got to give them a payment. So I said, you're going to have to tell them no money down, no interest for 6 years, get the thing, and whatever the payment's going to be. So he started to do that. His calls are up 400% because he has a call to action. He shows the problem. He shows the solution. He shows, hey, we can do financing at 0% interest, no money down, blah, blah, blah. Boom.